That guilt and that shame had been paid for. Christ's death was sufficient for all of the darkness, all of the sin, that all of that guilt had been washed away. I had a happy and normal childhood, but as my teenage years came on, I began to struggle. And it was in my teenage years that I began to use drugs and alcohol. During that period of time, I really struggled through life, and the drugs and alcohol permeated my life until adulthood. I didn't believe in God. I didn't know God. All the happiness that I thought I could find was found in the world. As marriage and fatherhood became a part of my life, new responsibilities came with that new season. Given my propensity to drugs and alcohol, I ended up getting a DUI and pulled over for that, and I spent a night in the county jail. That marked a new low in my life. My marriage fell apart, and it was at that point where I hit yet another low. There was a void in my life, but I didn't realize what that void was and how it could be filled. And my choice was to fill it with the world. And it was during this time that I was invited to an LDS service. The Mormon Church and its people brought me a lot of happiness for a season in my life. But that season changed when I had a conversation with somebody I respected in the church here in my living room. The more I realized that I didn't know, and the more questions I had, those questions mounted and many went unanswered. That happiness went away immediately because I felt at that point that what I had invested in and what I had been taught was inconsistent with what I believed should be or could be true. Distinctly remember a July Sunday morning in 1997 that I woke up and I felt empty. I came to a place where I recognized that I was missing something. Waiting and wondering, I felt confident that something was going to change, and it wasn't until Christmas that change came. At Christmas time, I was at a family event at my mom's house, and we had spent the evening together. Everybody had left. All that were left was my mom and an aunt and uncle, and this aunt and uncle were Christians. But that didn't matter to me. Before they left, I said, I'd like to call you tomorrow morning. And they asked, well, what do you want to talk about? Because I didn't really have much of a relationship with them, and I said, I don't know. But the next morning at 9 o'clock, I called them. And when we got on the phone, we talked about a number of things. But during that conversation, my aunt shared the gospel with me. And I can still remember going, that's it! That's what I need. Yes, I want to receive Christ right now. That's what I've been waiting for. And I received Christ on December 26, 1997, and I became a new creation. I had a new hope in my life. I had a new reason to be a father. I had a new reason to be an employer. I had a new reason to be a neighbor. As a new creation, it all had new purpose. My mom saw the change right away. And when she saw that change, she was attracted to it. She needed something too.
Your mom was not a believer at the time?
No, neither was my son. I got saved, and then 2 years later, my son, Tyler, he got saved. And then 2 years later, my mom got saved. And we went from, there were no Christians in my immediate family, to 3 generations having all been saved, put in the church, baptized there. And as a single man, I had been praying for a wife, a Christian wife, that would support me and encourage me and be a helpmate in this new life in Christ. The aunt who shared the gospel with me had been sharing with her Sunday school group about a nephew that was unsaved. And that nephew that was unsaved was me, and Pam, my now wife, was praying for me before I was even saved, and then met me after I got saved. And the day came when we started dating, and then we married in 2000. On February 28th, 2016, we decided to attend the very first meeting, the launch of City Bible Church. And I still remember that day. That was a huge day for us because we had been praying for a long time for a good church. We were super encouraged that day. The message was gospel-centered and people were so kind to us. And we pulled in the driveway and we began talking about our experience, which generated tears and excitement and gratitude that we thought that we had found a place that we could go back to and that we could worship in that's here in our own community, which was an answer to prayer after 15 years. The church was looking for a building to buy that was in our geographic area. I received a text message and some information on a building, and the building was on 51st Street. And I remember looking at that image the very first time and realizing that that building was the building that I was attending as a Mormon. After we had purchased the building and we started the renovations, I hadn't been in the building. I was still processing years past and attending this building, or it was just a structure, and it was full of people that were unredeemed, but were trying to do good things, and were doing so without salvation and without the redemption that only Christ can offer. I recall being there as the old man, and that there not being any fruit of that time, that there were just people, and that knowing the church, City Bible Church, and knowing what we were going to do with it. It is a building, right? But the people that were going to be a part of this are people that are redeemed. These are people that I love. These are people that I have Christ in common with. And it really helped me reflect on the fact that on the outside, the building hadn't changed, but on the inside, the people had. It's called the church.